Hello, and welcome to another episode of Recruitment in a Spotlight, a forum where we help you on your journey to becoming a firefighter. I'm Yvonne De La Pena, the Cal-JAC Executive Director and your host today. We welcome the Chula Vista Fire Department. They're here to tell you all about the opportunities within their department, what they're looking for in a firefighter candidate, and highlight their new single-role paramedic program. We'll also be talking about why their unique fire academy stands out among the best and how this intense 20-week academy gives cadets a strong foundation for their fire service career. Throughout the live stream, we'll be answering questions submitted through our Zoom Q&A box, so be sure to get those questions in throughout the show. We have a great group of people representing the Chula Vista Fire Department here today, and in studio, we have three members of the fire department. Gentlemen, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, starting with you, Chief Lowry?
Sure. So thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you to CPF, Cal-JAC, and also thank you to our fire department executive command staff, as well as our IFF Local 2180 Executive Board, all the joint CVFD recruiters, and our fire department as a whole. My name is Sean Lowry. I serve as the training chief for the Chula Vista Fire Department. And have been honored and blessed to serve as well as an academy coordinator for several of our academies from 2013 on, and just happy to be here with the rest of the folks here from Chula Vista.
Great.
Great. My name's Modesto Martinez. Currently an engineer assigned to the training division, and also a joint CVFD recruiter and coordinator. So looking forward to answering questions, investing in the young future firefighters out there, and getting them on the right path. Thank you.
Great. They look forward to hearing from you.
And then my name's Noah Hirschman. I'm a firefighter with Chula Vista Fire Department. Just been on a couple of years now. I graduated with the 2020 Academy. And so it's an absolute pleasure to be here. And with only this much time on the job to start giving back to the recruitment process that has given me so much.
That's great. I know our audience is going to want to hear from you, being fresh, just 2 years into the job and what that academy is like. We're going to get into that. So I appreciate you guys being here in studio. We also have three personnel from Chula Vista coming to us directly from their training center. And so Captain Margetts, do you want to go ahead and start by introducing yourself and then your team?
Yes, thank you for having us. So my name is David Margetts, fire captain with Chula Vista Fire Department. And I've been an academy coordinator for the past three academies and going to be an academy coordinator for this next one coming up.
My name is Eric Martinez, fire engineer, and I've been an assistant academy coordinator for 2101 and going to be for 2201 and also the prep camp lead.
Hi guys, single paramedic, Louise Sharp here. Been with the department for just coming up to about a year. I was one of the original groups hired for the flagship ambulance transport program when we transitioned to a fire department-based ambulance transport system about a year ago, upcoming in March. So yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk to you guys.
Great. We really look forward to hearing from all of you about all of your experiences with Chula Vista Fire Department. But Chief Lowry, let's start with you. What makes Chula Vista such a great fire department to work for?
Well, Yvonne, I think it's pretty simple. It's probably the same thing for any fire department in our state, and that's people and service. So the people that make up the fire department, and then therefore the services that we provide. Our department has made a very conscious effort within the recruitment process, as well as through the academy process, to really focus on character. So not just the competency components of a fire academy, but building character, making sure that our recruits, as they graduate, become a better person. So any of the roles they serve in life, they're going to be better husbands, better wives, better sons, better daughters, and so forth. So the people is one major component that makes us a little different, and then the services we provide. If you look at our city and the growth that we've endured from the early 2000s, we've been able to transition. We were late to the game in ALS, but we transitioned in 2013 to providing advanced life support on all of our fire engines. We recently, within the last 5 years, converted to 4-person staffing. So that 4-person staffing model has not just enhanced fire ground safety, but it's also drastically improved the service we provide to the citizens of Chula Vista. And then most recently, within the last year, we have very proudly taken over the ambulance transport services for our city. So that in itself created a new niche for us within our recruitment pool as well, and I think we'll get to talk about that later.
Yeah, great. So why don't you tell me what do you love about Chula Vista Fire Department?
First of all, let me say that I love Chula Vista Fire Department. It's definitely become my home away from home. It has given me the opportunity to provide for my family. It's given me the opportunity to work with my hands, to be creative, and to work alongside some amazing people. So, every day I work with individuals that are competent because of the training that we're committed to. Individuals that are focused on serving other people in the many ways that we do. And I love our fire department.
Well, I know from talking to you a little bit before the show, you guys really invest in your recruitment process, and it's just so exciting to see the amount of energy and the resources you put into recruitment. You know, what are you looking for in a candidate?
That's pretty simple for us also. So the level of investment that we are putting in, we believe is going to be a direct return on investment. So we, in any agency who's watching this would know that the fire service has changed over the last decade to where we do see people leave their fire department to go to another fire department or even another profession. And from our end, we believe the more we invest and the earlier we invest in the recruitment process, we will then seek and receive a strong positive return on investment. And so a lot of our recruitment efforts are focused from the explorer age range, 16 to 21, and one of our panelists in the Chula Vista studio can talk a little bit about explorers as well. But it goes all the way through. And so we now have this path that takes us from explorer into the single role ambulance transport roles of single role EMT and single role paramedic. The investment carries over into the fire recruitment process. And we believe that early investment will lend itself to a long-term return on investment. Engineer Martinez can actually focus a little bit about the recruitment open houses and how we really transitioned to that, made it through COVID as well, kind of a COVID pivot. But the recruitment open houses are targeted towards sending a very specific message to our candidates, which allow them to be better prepared into the process. And Engineer Martinez can probably expand on that.
I'd love to hear about that because it sounds like it's a great part of your program.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And talking about investment, we are all the products of the investment we're talking about, right? And it doesn't just come back to Chula Vista Fire Department, but it also comes back to the fire service in general. So talking about our recruitment open houses, that's what it is. It's giving us the opportunity to share, be vulnerable, share our own stories of how we got to where we are, and hopefully make a connection with someone who is maybe shares some similarities. And with that, we invite them to our fire stations. We have personnel that come outside and talk about their stories and share with what they've been through. And it gives us the opportunity to, before the interview, before the formal process, to meet these individuals and learn a bit more about them, exchange contact information to help them any way we can. So these tend to go on actually coming up every month as we lead into our next hiring process.
Wow, that's great. Engineer Martinez, who's in our remote location, there in Chula Vista. What kind of support does Chula Vista Fire provide to the candidates as they're going through this process?
So as a prep camp lead, that's one of the first offerings that we give to these candidates. So prep camp stands for physical readiness and educational preparedness. We take a twofold approach to that. So first would be the physical readiness. What we do in there is we illustrate the types of workouts that will be seen during the academy. Our philosophy is that we are professional tactical athletes, so we need to train for the sport that we play. By doing this and showing them early, they're allowed to gauge their fitness levels and seek any improvement needed so that day one truly isn't day one. The educational portion of it, or the educational preparedness, is we are become one of the first and most consistent contacts for these candidates during the entire hiring process. With that, we're able to give them department knowledge, introductory study guides to help along with the interviews and help them better know our department. More importantly, though, we're able to show them the deep sense of servanthood and the foundation of community service that is at the core of our department. By doing that, we are investing in them even prior to the hire date, which causes a greater buy-in and a greater emotional tie to Chula Vista Fire Department.
Wow, that just sounds like an amazing program. I mean, you really do invest in those cadets and getting them engaged with the fire department. And, can you walk us through the process of, a candidate coming in and kind of what they're going to see along the way through this recruitment process?
Absolutely.
Because it's been a couple years, but I'm sure you can remember.
I do. I do remember. Well, I think that the word that keeps getting used over and over again, even in our conversations, and we spoke about this a little bit earlier, is the word process. Mm-hmm. And there is an application process. There's a interview process. There's a background process, all leading up to the academy, which is another process. And our academy cadre, they let us know that this is a process. It's not a process that we walked as individuals through our academy. We walked through this process with our academy coordinators, and we learned what it meant to be one team, one mission, which is our academy slogan. And we earned the right to be one team, one mission for the city of Chula Vista. So it's a process, but it's something that you're not alone in. The recruitment does not stop once you get hired. You're constantly and consistently pursued and recruited, even through the academy and then through probation as well.
Well, it speaks to your recruitment process that all of you are engaged in that process now because you wanted to give back to the process. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Great, thank you. I kind of highlighted on it before, but giving back to the process is just, I think it's and as Chief Lowry said, it's not only return on investment, but it also focuses on accountability. So I do remember meeting Noah and being involved in his academy, and you develop a relationship with someone, even though you just met them at these open houses, and they know that I'm accountable to them, and throughout their career, whether it's in the fire service or maybe they're interested in prompted interest in maybe the military, but whatever it is, that they know that hopefully that we had made a difference for them, and in some way we can hold each other accountable and be reliable whenever they need us in the future.
Right. So mentorship's a big part of this, I assume. Yeah, I mean that's how you kind of support the candidate throughout the process.
Yes, so a lot of what was discussed just briefly today about the vulnerability that's displayed, that's something that very early on in the recruitment open house, through your interview process and into the academies, we concentrate on this onboarding, which is a welcoming event. Mm-hmm. And in order to feel welcomed, you have to feel love and trust. Right. And so we truly believe that love and trust allows us to create and develop these relationships. And these relationships, as they develop, turn into this mentorship. I think Noah can expand a little bit on the mentorship piece, but there's a strategy that's utilized where the cadre determine, because we've invested so much early, on a little bit about that person, who they are, how they connect to a certain individual within our department, and we kind of marry them together. Mm-hmm. And we realize they might have a common purpose, they might have some sort of a common interest, maybe their story is the same, they grew up the same place, they served in the military, they played a certain professional or collegiate sport, and we align them together. And then that mentorship, if Noah can expand on, it carries on greater than just the academy, but throughout their entire career.
Yeah. So, yeah, the mentorship program is, just like Chief Lowry said, is a recruit who is paired with somebody in the department that is either similar to them in background or temperament or work ethic or something like that, or it's somebody that will complement that person, asimilar but will complement that person. And that mentor is in charge of carrying messages to the recruit on a weekly basis. Okay. And these messages aren't, they're not like a, what am I trying to say? It's not something that they come up with. This is strategic, and it's choreographed from the training division, from the academy cadre, in order to get the recruit to start thinking about maybe the upcoming week, or reflect on the week before.
That's great. So mentorship really has helped you become very strong in your recruitment effort. Maybe I can ask Paramedic Sharp, how did mentorship help you in your career path here with Chula Vista Fire Department?
Sure, yeah, thanks. The mentorship and guidance here has been massive for us. We've got being part of the sort of the fire department-based ambulance transport system. We're with these guys at the department every single day. And there's obviously all these opportunities within the department. My personal journey has been, that I wanted to go into fire, and I kind of moved here from out of state for this opportunity. And being with the guys at the department, I'm able to see, their training, their intensity, and their commitment, and be inspired by that. But also reach out to all these people and all these resources that have got so much experience and have been so successful in so many different roles. They're all so prepared to open their door to you and to give you their phone number and answer any questions that you may have, and offer that guidance and that mentorship, encourage you and give you some really important advice along this journey, because it's a really long process. It can be difficult at times, and it's really important for us to receive that kind of advice and mentorship and guidance. So yeah, it's been awesome.
Great. So do you have any tips for the candidates out there and how they start to work through this process? Any tips that you can give them?
Absolutely. So I think one of the simplest things, and I think by this generation we know that little thing that's usually held in our hand connects us to so much. And so very important to the overall culture of the Chula Vista Fire Department is that any candidate who's interested in working for us knows us, learns about us. And so we have some great social media platforms, and we have an expectation that anyone who has an interest in working for us learns about us. And so we're very open, we're very vulnerable in our social media. We allow for direct messaging to occur. And so we want those questions to be answered, just like today. The recruitment open houses, as Engineer Martinez highlighted, we want to see people invested in the recruitment open houses. In the process that Noah went through, the culmination event of that recruitment open house process was every candidate had an opportunity to meet the executive command staff. So prior to ever entering an interview, you had this opportunity. So the tips that I think that we would provide is to invest back into what it is that you want to chase and this journey that you're on. And when you do, you will be welcomed with open arms by the Chula Vista Fire Department.
So I'm hearing they need to do the work.
Yes.
And then they can get into some of that. So, this is all great information. I'm sure we're starting to get some questions in our Q&A box because you've brought up a lot of good items for them to talk about. Courtney, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we have a couple questions here. Our first question is from Marcus White. Marcus would like to know, what are the minimum requirements to work for Chula Vista Fire Department?
So I'll go ahead and take that one.
Okay.
Minimum requirements are very simple for us. It's going to be 18 years old. It's going to be a valid driver's license and an EMT cert. Our recruitments initiate with a fire recruit process. So paramedic certification is a highly desirable trait. However, EMT is the basic core. And then you can transition to answer a little bit more of that question. That's for the fire recruit side. We also have open continuous recruitment for the single role EMT and single role paramedic program. And so those are the exact same requirements. On the fire recruit side, one additional requirement we have is in alignment with Cal-JAC. You need to be on that statewide eligibility list.
Right.
So having completed an FCTC and having completed your CPAT are those additional requirements on that side.
So you mentioned the medic program. So let's take some time to talk about your single role paramedic program. Can you tell us what that actually is and kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll give the overview and then I'll pass it on to Paramedic Sharp so she can highlight some of the day-to-day components. But again, in April 2021, our fire department took on a significant venture of providing our own fire department-based ambulance transport system. And so that means we have ambulances that are red, that say Chula Vista Fire Department on them.
I love that.
Yes. And they allow us to go from the early 911 phase of the call all the way through the processing to the hospital of our constituents, that they have a Chula Vista person that's associated with that service delivery. And so they are staffed with a single role EMT and a single role paramedic. They are onboarded and trained from the recruitment process, onboarded and trained through our fire department. They wear our uniform, they are living in our fire stations, and they are a part of our family. And so that's kind of what we've transitioned to. It was definitely new for us. We were an agency that never had ambulances inside of our stations.
Wow, yeah.
So we're learning, but I think Paramedic Sharp can probably share a little bit about the day-to-day operations.
Great. Paramedic Sharp, you want to tell us a little bit about your experience in this role?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I think, as I mentioned when I did the introduction, I was part of the group that was first hired for this flagship program. We go through a pretty intense 2-week EMS academy. We are introduced to the city. We get hands-on training. We do all our ACLS, PALS, all the kind of ABC recertifications. We learn a lot about the city, about the department, about its citizens. We do driver training. So it's, there's very high expectations, and we're getting tested every day. But, it was a phenomenal program for the 2 weeks that we did it. And then, we're coming up on a year of the program. It's been a massive success. I think that I probably speak for all of the guys on the ambulance transport system, and probably for the department, to say that, we're really proud of what we've achieved this year. And, a lot of that success, a massive part of that success is, we have this huge emphasis on teamwork, and we're responding out of the fire stations. We live together at the fire station. We respond together. We have better communication on calls. We're understanding the logistics of a call a lot better. We can, debrief at the end of calls, what went right. Is there anything that we could have improved on? And all of this collectively is improving our overall service to the citizens of Chula Vista, which is obviously our ultimate goal here. It's been a phenomenal success, and my experience has, been nothing but awesome with the whole program.
It sounds exciting. It really does. Yeah. And so what would you tell the candidates out there, what process should they go through to even get to where you are today? Sure.
So at Join CVFD was my main source when I was looking for opportunities at the department, that and on the government website. Like I said, I actually moved from out of state for this opportunity, recognizing that it was a very unique thing that we could be a single role paramedic or EMT out of a fire department. Reach out to us at stations, and individually, everybody is willing to open their door, do station tours to help. We offer ride-alongs as well, if that's something that you want to do, just to see if it's something that you're going to enjoy. There's a bunch of opportunities for you to reach out and see what we're about.
That's great. That's great. So I know candidates probably have more questions now about this program and about the whole process. Courtney, do you have something to share with us?
I do. We have a few questions. Thank you for sending those. Please feel free to send whatever questions you have. We love answering your questions here live. So our next question is from Jake Halcon. Jake would like to know, what quality do you see in candidates that are successful throughout the recruitment process?
Why don't I throw that to Captain Marquez?
So successful recruits. Basically, you have to have a desire to be part of a team, to have some personal accountability, and to work through the difficult times. The successes that we see are not necessarily people who excel the entire time, but the people who have problems that they encounter, or they have difficult moments, but they're able to rise past them. Because ultimately, we want to see people that are determined to get through the process and get through an academy, even if they have a rough time going through that process.
That's so true. Yeah. But you give them so much support. It sounds like you really get a lot of support in this process. Yes. So you want them to be successful, so they're going to be successful, right?
I think that's probably one of the difference makers in our academy process. We tell you the first day that we care about you, that we love you, and that we are going to be here to ensure your success. I think any of the recent Chula Vista graduates of our academies will all tell you that. Our focus from the training division and the cadre is for you to be successful.
Right.
There are no traps.
That's great.
And so if we've had unsuccessful candidates, I think even they would express that they felt cared for and supported throughout the entire process. And that's again one of the primary philosophies of this fire academy.
Okay, great. Courtney, some more questions, I'm
Yes,
sure.
thank you. I have a question from Shamora. Shamora would like to know, does Chula Vista utilize a 4896 schedule? Is there a way to work for your department if you live out of state or over 8 hours away?
Okay.
All right, so I'll answer that one.
Okay.
We do not operate in a 4896. We are in what's considered a modified Kelly, so that has 4s and 6s. However, we do have numerous individuals in our department of all ranks that live in the state and out of the state. And so we have things like shift trades that allow those things to happen. And then obviously we operate in what's called a constant minimum staffing model. So there are very distinct opportunities to work extra through the days. And then that provides you that opportunity to work for a longer stretch and then potentially go to another place. However, we do have a lot of folks who live within our city, and that's kind of one of the neat features. Is many people who find out about us end up deciding, I kind of want to live here.
It's a nice place to
live.
It
is. It is. Yes, I'm a little biased, born and raised in our city, but it is definitely a great place.
So, do the single role EMT and paramedics have the same schedule as well?
They do. They operate in the shift schedule.
Oh,
yes.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So if you're as for instance, Paramedic Sharp, she's assigned to Station 5 on Medic 55. She's working with the same crew every day.
Wow, that's a great program, that really is. And it gives a lot of opportunity to those individuals who are EMTs and paramedics to get, if they desire to be in the fire side of it, right? So
Absolutely.
That's great. Courtney, more questions?
Yes, thank you. Our next question is from Joe Paletti. Joe would like to know, where can they find more information on when your open house is going to be, and when do your applications open next?
The number one question, when's your application open?
Absolutely. So most information that you need to know about the Chula Vista Fire Department can be found through social media, and that's at JoinCVFD on Instagram.
Okay.
And our recruitment open houses, we actually like to kind of build a little bit of hype for.
Yeah.
So those are generally released on a Monday before the Saturday. And those open houses are always on Saturday mornings, 9 to 11. We expect the candidates to do a little bit of homework, so we tell you the station number. We don't tell you the address.
Okay, that's interesting.
So the strategy.
Make them find you.
Make them find it, right? Displaying their level of investment.
Exactly.
And so that's where it can be found, at JoinCVFD on the Instagram account. And then we're very hopeful from the executive command staff that following this recruitment in the spotlight, we will be hopefully launching our Academy 2301 recruitment shortly after this event today.
So you heard it here first. There's going to be a recruitment coming up for Chula Vista. And it's like, I wish I was younger, I would join. So, more questions from Courtney.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. Jake Tamblin would like to know, what are your target hazards, and do you have wildland, high-rise, or waterway responses?
Okay, who would like to answer that question?
We'll pass that to the Chula Vista location.
Okay.
And I think Academy Coordinator Captain Dave Margetts can answer that.
Great. Captain Margetts?
All right, so target hazards. We have a multitude of target hazards within and around our city. So we're surrounded by freeways, basically north, south, east, and west. We have mutual aid responses with San Diego, with National City, automatic aid to other adjoining agencies as well. We have wildland urban interface. We have wildland on the eastern end of our city. We do have water. We don't have a fire boat, but we do work with harbor police on a pretty regular basis. We do have marinas that we do cover. Along with that, there's some industrial complexes out on the eastern side of our city, and then high density locations with a lot of people living in kind of an urban setting within our jurisdictions as well. We do have some mid-rises and slated some high-rises that are going to be coming to the city of Chula Vista in the very near future.
Okay. So what's your favorite type of call? Out of all that specialty, what do you like to go to?
It's right there in our name.
Right there, yeah.
We like going to fires.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is what we train for,
Exactly.
is to go to fires. We take a lot of pride in our firemanship, and I think you can never go on too many of them. However, that's not all that we take pride in. Mm-hmm. The Chula Vista Fire Department, and along with many other fire departments, most fire departments in the world, 85 to 90% of what we do is EMS.
Right.
And I think that it's a facet of our job that deserves a lot lot of pride. And so,
well, you guys are investing in it too now
100%.
by having those
Yeah.
single roles and moving in, so they'll be very well trained
Right.
through the process.
so
That's great.
So our favorite calls, fires. They're an unfortunate event, but when they happen, we prefer them to be in our district. And
Because you could stop it and keep everyone safe.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that would be the answer to that question.
Yeah, great. Courtney, I know you probably have one more question out there.
I do. I have one more question right now. Just a reminder, if you have questions, feel free to send them through to us through Facebook, the Zoom link. However, we love to answer them here. So our next one is from Alexis. Alexis says that they have only ever worked as a paramedic, never in a fire station. Will Chula Vista teach those of us interested in applying for a station the etiquette? And do you prefer to hire firefighters from your ambulance operations?
Okay.
So another outstanding question. So one of the cool features of our academy process, again, it's a focus not just in the competency component, but it has a strong character component. So it operates under a basic fire academy premise, and that basic fire academy premise means we can teach anyone to become a firefighter. Obviously, Alexis has a paramedic cert, so that's awesome. But if you look at Noah was a well-trained executive chef.
Which is perfect for the fire service.
Perfect for the fire service.
Right?
But we have numerous recruits that have just graduated academies that their background was in customer service. They were a barista, or they were a Apple Genius bar person prior to, and then they learned to do all these things. A major component of the character piece that we concentrate on, we bring in guest speakers from all walks of life. Former military leaders, to potentially chaplains within the department, or pastors. We bring in the presidents and CEOs of large healthcare companies to come and talk about leadership, but most importantly, how to really be a teammate.
Right.
And that's the piece that I think Alexis is alluding to. And then this new process we have with the ambulance transport program, we have provided every opportunity to those that are in that program to become a fire recruit. So it's not something that is the only sole source of hiring. We still hold open recruitments, but folks that are in that program, they do have a special, unique opportunity. Also, the same way that our Fire Explorer program has for over 30 years been a feeder program for us.
30 years you've had your Fire Explorer program. That's amazing.
Yes. One of the cool facts about our department from an Explorer program feature also is at one point half of our chiefs had been fire explorers. Our union president, a former explorer. So we've grown up together, and organizationally you can feel it when we're all together.
That's great. So let's take one more question to throw it back to Courtney.
Yeah. So our next question is from Jem Gearing. Jim says, you all look to be very happy with your jobs and your belief in what you're doing. How do you remain so motivated with such big tasks ahead of you? Is there a secret to your success?
Okay, I'm going to give that one to you.
Great, I appreciate that. Great question. I think one of the things, just like any career or through life, you have your ups and your downs, right? But you are a product of your environment. So I'm a product of these individuals sitting that I'm next to right now, the individuals on the other side of the TV screen over there, and you surround yourself with like-minded people and that share like positivity and enthusiasm, and it's contagious.
It is.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with our recruitment. I am selfish in the fact that I tell these individuals that you're keeping me positive. You're keeping me enthusiastic, and you see these young men and women, bright-eyed and hungry, and you can only feed off that.
Right.
So I think that's how we keep it going.
Well, and I just have to tell the audience, I've been sitting here with you guys for a couple hours before we started the show, and the energy from all of you and the positive vibes that I'm getting, I'm hoping that's coming across to all of you who are watching us live, because this is a great group of people. Look at the smiles even remotely. They're so excited. So keep those questions coming, because we're going to do one more Q&A during the live stream. So be sure to get your questions in, and Courtney will read them for you. And so now that we've talked about the specialties and we've talked about all the opportunities and the recruitment process, let's talk about the Chula Vista Fire Academy. Captain Marquez, can you tell us what makes Chula Vista Fire Academy so unique?
So the Fire Academy, really the whole process of the recruitment process feeds into the academy itself. So we talked a little bit about one team, one mission. And one of the big things that's a takeaway from that is all of the recruits coming in learn that it's more about all of us than just me, the we before me. So that one team, one mission is a major component. And that's part of that emotional and that educational piece that brings these candidates all together. So our academy is a 20-week long academy. We have a 16-week basic fire academy where you get your firefighter 1 through the state, along with a multitude of certifications. After those 16 weeks, we focus on Chula Vista specific rescue requirements. So it falls in line a lot with the National Rescue Specialist Program, because we have a Type 1 heavy rescue in our city, and it's very imperative that that is staffed with qualified, knowledgeable personnel. Along with that, we make sure that our fire recruits have the ability to drive our fire engines just as an endorsement on their license, and they have to be tiller qualified. So we do have 2 trucks that are going to be tillers, or we have 2 trucks that are tillers within our city. And it's important that the person driving that tiller knows how to drive it so we can avoid accidents. This increases the amount of education and knowledge and training that these recruits have to get through that 20-week academy. So there's a lot of components that go into this. Basic firefighting skills, wildland firefighting skills, day-to-day operations, knowledge of hose, SCBAs, the high risk, low frequency parts of our job that are very important. And on top of that, we make sure that we encourage and encompass the medical EMS component of our job, which is a great majority and a vast multitude of the calls that we go on.
So 20 weeks, that's longer than most academies that fire departments have.
Yes, so the vision behind this is that the basic fire academy that we're blessed to have curriculum from right here in Sacramento through state fire training provides us 16 of those weeks.
Right.
Our belief system, very similar to the way that the military works, where you go to boot camp,
right,
and then you go to a specific school. And so the inspiration for the greater time was that we knew that we had to continue the training. Firefighter Hirschman talked about earlier the process, and this process continues through your academy and into your probation. So even though the academy is this fundamental establishment of employee development within the fire service, we believe that that's why we need to invest in it, and we need to continue that. So we added these additional weeks, as Captain Marquez highlighted, and their focus is to make that firefighter, as they hit the floor, ready to go in any seat within our department. So they're able to fulfill seats on the Type 1 Heavy Rescue, they're able to fulfill seats in the tiller box, and they are ready to go. It doesn't mean that the development stops there. So a part of that 20 weeks it consists of a 1-year probation after.
Right.
So that 1-year probation after has its subsequent benchmark exams, both in engine, truck, rescue, and again, the focus is invest early in the development of an employee, and not only will we deliver a higher level of service to the city, but we'll maintain our employees, which is a paramount goal of not just our executive command staff, but as well at our union level, and certainly from the city level.
Right. Once they get there, they don't want to leave.
That's right.
That's the goal, right? So, Engineer Martinez, what's the highlight of the academy from your perspective?
Well, I can. Great question. I can speak for it personally, and then I think there's also a highlight that I have for others. I'm happy to say that I can help instruct in ladders, and which is a fundamental firefighting perishable skill. And there's a sense of pride teaching these skills to the young firefighters, and a fundamental skill that they'll carry on for the rest of their career. Ladder days and ladder weeks are some of the toughest parts of the academy, and there's a sense of pride and accomplishment that I see in the development of others, and that is a highlight. I would say burpees and
That
push-ups.
doesn't sound like a highlight to me.
It is when everyone gets through it, and knowing that you all did it together and you all kind of embrace the pain together are some of my most probably memorable moments.
I
Especially
didn't expect
with
to
Noah.
hear that as a highlight. Well, so you've probably been the most recent one going through it. So what's your perspective on this and some of the highlights for you?
The highlights of the academy? The highlights are always the worst parts.
That's what he kind of just alluded to. Yeah.
There's a strange thing that goes on between two people that suffer together. And it's not all suffering, but there's a closeness that you share between those tough moments, and things that just you can't duplicate and you can't replace anywhere else. It was 20 of the hardest weeks of my life, but 20 of the best weeks of my life. So I created some lifelong friends, and I learned some skills that they're gonna keep our community safe. They're gonna keep me safe, and they're just skills that I was able to get a little bit of a grasp of, and then with probation, skills that I was able to expand upon and become proficient at.
Right, so it just really shapes you in your career.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of that. So Chief Lowry, being in training and chief of training, how does Chula Vista's Fire Academy shape each individual's career, like as they move forward out of the academy?
That's outstanding. I think it's actually one of the primary goals of our academy. We recognize that this is a small window where we capture a captive audience, as described, for 20 solid weeks. But the commitment is made very clear on day one by the cadre. And the commitment is that, let's say there's 20 people in an academy and there's 4 people in a cadre. That cadre makes it very clear that the academy is a 24-person academy. So I look back to 2013 and Engineer Martinez's academy. He knew that the 2 academy coordinators were a part of that academy, and so the commitment extends with accountability throughout the rest of the career. And so again, back to the mentorship piece. There are certain times where we might have hiccups or we might have some lows, but knowing that the folks you went through that academy with, including the cadre, are right there behind you. They're there to support you. They're there to cheer you on, lift you up, wipe a tear, whatever's needed, is a pretty neat feature.
Right.
So it does not end with the academy. That commitment extends far greater than, and I think, again, if we had more panelists here that were part of the last few academies, they would feel that same thing.
Right. So you have your firefighter family really helping to support and lift you. But an individual's family is important in this process too. And I know you do an orientation for the families and stuff. Can somebody tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, how about we have Engineer Eric Martinez answer a little bit
Sure.
about the family orientation,
Great.
both from a recruit perspective as well as the Assistant Academy Coordinator perspective.
All right, yeah. So the family orientation night is an opportunity to basically what it is, invite the entire family and open their eyes to the process that their family member is going to be going through the next 20 weeks. Being from a recruit in 2015 to now having the opportunity to turn around and teach it, I understood quickly like the importance of involving the home life with the academy setting that goes on here. We're here doing 10, 12-hour days and having to go home and put in another 2 to 3 to 4 hours. And most of the time, it's us just focusing in those books or figuring out what we need to do for the next day. By having that support system at home and letting them know early that the recruits are going to need you just as much as you're going to need them for the rest of their career, like it's able to show them that we as a cadre and as a department are embracing them as a family too. So the recruits might be showing up day to day, but we understand as a cadre, we are taking on every family member that is going to be here for their 20 weeks and essentially for the rest of their career. So we're investing in not only that one individual, but every member of the family that's going to be their support system.
Right. So as long as you have the mic in your hand, can you tell us a little bit more, kind of elaborate on the prep camp, as the prep camp lead and what that program's all about, what it stands for?
Sure. So yeah, like I said earlier, the prep camp is a physical readiness and educational/emotional preparedness. We focus on 3 pillars of the physical side, which is a functional strength, functional mobility, and cardiovascular and muscular endurance. Our job is unique to any other profession or even sport. People can come in as high fitness athletes or high fitness individuals, but the great equalizer is always the turnouts, right? We prepare ourselves to, like we said, the low frequency, high risk stuff. And by doing non-traditional workouts or high intensity interval training and functional fitness to prepare you for basically the unprepared that we're going to be encountering, it allows us to become a lot more full-rounded athletes. Okay. Which at the end of the day is we have to think ourselves as. By getting that mentality early on, even before the academy starts and throughout the academy, that you are a paid professional tactical athlete here, you take that mentality for the next 30 years, and then training is just easy. It just becomes a part of your everyday job.
I like that. Paid professional tactical athlete. I'm going to remember that one. That's great. So just a reminder, our final Q&A is coming up. So if you have any questions about the single role paramedic program, the academy, the recruitment process, or anything else you'd like to ask Chula Vista Fire Department, this is your opportunity. They're here in studio. They're here at their training center. They want to talk to you. So keep those questions coming in, and we will go to some final tips and stuff for you to talk about a little bit. And as those are coming in, and then any final thoughts from you?
Sure. I can start off with that. I wanted to highlight one of the questions that was brought up earlier, actually, that I think it was from Alexis. She was the paramedic, and she asked about station etiquette. And there are... and to remind her and everyone else out there, aspiring firefighters, is that we've all been there, and we didn't know the right etiquette, or maybe the right things to do, or the way to act, or maybe how to polish your boots, or and that is okay. So from remaining engaged and developing relationships amongst other interested people. And again, it just goes back to surrounding yourself with good people. You'll learn those things, and visit your local fire station. Those are some of the that's when it all starts, and they can help you in your journey.
Okay, great. Anything from you? Final thoughts or?
Yeah, just invest in the process. Be vulnerable. Find out who you are. Which is something that is a tough thing to do when you're going through an interview process, an application process. You really need to know who you are as a human being before anybody else can get to know you as a human being. So make a list, take a personal inventory of yourself, and really learn you, so that when it comes time for you to sit across the table from individuals that can offer you an opportunity, you know who to sell.
Yeah, this is lots of great information, and thank you so much for sharing. Chula Vista, it sounds like you're a great department, of course you are, and a great place to start a career. So let's take our final questions, and let's toss it over to Courtney.
Thank you, Yvonne. We do have a few more questions. If your question is not answered today, please feel free to reach out to us or Chula Vista on their social media, and we will always do our best to respond. So with that being said, our next question is from Jared Williams. Jared would like to know, does he need to be on the FCTC's statewide eligibility list to get hired? And Yvonne, maybe you can explain what that is. I don't know if we've talked about that today.
So the FCTC statewide eligibility list is a list of pre-qualified candidates, and they have to have their CPAT, their candidate physical ability test. They have to have their written test. They have to be 18 years or older, have a driver's license and a high school diploma or GED. So once an individual is on this list, fire departments such as Chula Vista use the list as their pre-qual for their application process. So do you want to go from there?
Sure.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer for the fire recruit position is you have to be on the statewide eligibility list in order to do that. We are proud partners with Cal-JAC. We work very closely to try and host FCTCs as well as CPATs within our region in order to make that accessible. I think another key point is a demographic point, and that is that Cal-JAC does offer scholarships. Mm-hmm. So I know that's something very important to our city staff,
right,
is that this statewide eligibility list does have a nominal cost associated.
Right.
However, if you're unable to fulfill that cost, you can apply through Cal-JAC for some financial assistance in order to do so. And I think that's a really important feature for any candidate that's looking at our city.
Yeah, we're very appreciative of the support we get from the California Fire Foundation, who actually funds those grants. And if you go to FCTC's website, FCTC Online, you can get information about the scholarships, and that can pay for those entry-level requirements for you. That's awesome. Courtney.
Thank you, Yvonne. Our next question is, how do your recruitment efforts and internal resources focus on retention of employees as well as diversity and inclusion?
Okay, who wants to take that one?
I think everybody's looking for me to take that one.
Chief Lowry's like,
I felt that one even from Chula Vista. So all of our efforts are definitely set on retainment, and I think the word investment has been a theme throughout all of this. We are very proud. We were talking off camera earlier. In any profession, if you're looking towards a company that you want to work for, one of the things that you look at, other than the services they provide, are the people. And some of the questions that you should be asking any department in the state that you apply for is, are people leaving? And so one of the key features of our fire department that is that's pretty awesome is that we do not lose employees.
That's great.
So our employees stay, they are committed, and we don't lose them. So employee retention, I believe we do that by the way that we treat every employee. We treat them with respect, we treat them with dignity, tolerance, and I think that conveys itself into the inclusiveness of our recruitment. So Chula Vista, if you know anything about the city, it is a true melting pot in San Diego County. And I think we've done a great job of trying to be a reflection of the community. We have all ethnicities within our department represented, and we're eager because we don't really look at things through any specific lens. We're very open. Our city staff. I mean, we have a outstanding mayor. Our city manager encourages us to be very open in any recruitment that we have.
So you have the support from the whole community for that.
Absolutely, yeah. The support extends far beyond the fire department and extends itself into other department heads within the city. Yeah. Our police chief, she's an outstanding voice to public safety and recruitment as well. So yeah, this extends well beyond just our fire department.
Great. Courtney, any other questions?
Yeah, our next one is from Ryan Moretti. He says, coming into the game, hard work, open-mindedness, and a readiness to improve are all important aspects. What other qualities do you see in individuals that really shine?
I think we'll have Captain Margetts answer that one.
Captain Margetts.
So other qualities that are really imperative or help you to shine is the ability to be a good teammate. If you can operate independently, that's amazing. But if you can operate in a group setting where you work with each other's strengths and weaknesses and have a positive outcome, that's really an important facet that we look for. And it really does propel you in a positive way forward through that academy setting. And it sets a foundation for your career as well.
Right, right. Actually, I see this artwork behind you, Captain Margetts. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Yes, what is that?
So that picture was taken in the 1301 Academy. And that was basically a commitment that was done by the training division and the Chula Vista Fire Department of an all-in approach. So those are our recruits from the 1301 Academy all making that commitment. And there's people on this panel who are part of that. And it's just been carried forward since then.
Yeah, that's great. And so all in, what does that mean to you guys?
Well, all in means we did it on the live session, but all in is this is an all in investment. We truly believe that who's got it better than us, right? Nobody.
Come on, I want to hear it.
Oh, who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
All right.
One more time, you can do
Got it better than us? Nobody.
There you go.
So yeah, this all-in moment is definitely signified by that artwork. That photo was actually taken by one of our fire captains, and it's a part of our recruitment campaign. It definitely was a big moment for our fire department to go into this type of academy process. And like we said, it's grown from 2013. It's grown from the earlier processes in the early 2000s as well. And the advancement for us is that we want to continue to get better. Like I said in the very beginning, any fire officer and any fire department could say that they have a good or great or outstanding fire department. And I truly believe that the Chula Vista Fire Department is a bettering fire department. So our process is about betterment, and that's been 100 years of tradition to get better and better and better. And I think that kind of frames us up a little bit different than just saying that we're good or great.
Great. So I want to take one more question at least, so we can finish out some of the people who've been waiting to have questions answered. Courtney, I'm going to go back to you before we wrap it up.
Thank you, Yvonne. So our next question, kind of our last question, and then if you don't mind coming back, I have one more nice thing to say.
Okay. We'll come back to you. Okay.
Thank you. How can an older 31-year-old candidate get noticed? He was an explorer for a fire department for 5 years and an EMT for 6 years, but has been in the tech field now to pay back student loans. And that was Joe Paletti. What information do you guys have for him?
Okay. How about?
Okay. Yeah, I can take that. It kind of goes back to some of the other things we talked about. We at least with Chula Vista, we have these open houses, and one thing we didn't mention is that they're not always at fire stations.
Okay.
So our plan is to hit up some other satellite locations, colleges. We talked about the Chula Vista Training Center, but get noticed and develop those relationships. So make those phone calls. Reach out to others. I'm sure you've surrounded yourself with other like-minded individuals that are also in pursuit of a career, and make those positive contacts. And if you are in the South Bay and SoCal, make your way down to Chula Vista. We're wide open. Our doors are open. Go knock on a door and tell them that you met Chief Lowry and myself and all these other personnel, and we will welcome you and show you the path.
That's great. That's wonderful. Okay, Courtney, you have a comment for us, apparently.
Yes, this comment is actually from Jeff Peter, who is a retired Chula Vista Fire Department Deputy Chief. Jeff would like you all to know that he could not be more proud of you all as you continue to market Chula Vista Fire Department and the fire service while investing in future firefighters. Keep up the great work.
Oh, well, what a great way to end the program. So I just want to thank you all for watching, and thank you for all your great questions and being engaged here with our personnel from Chula Vista Fire Department. I especially wanted to thank Chief Lowry, Engineer Modesto Martinez, Firefighter Hirschman, and to our people who are in Chula Vista right now, joining us remotely. Thank you so much, Captain Margetts and Engineer Eric Martinez and Paramedic Sharp. We really appreciate your time today. We know this is a huge commitment to come up here and speak, live to all of our audience here. And we just appreciate you and appreciate the service to the community of Chula Vista. And we hope that you get a lot of great candidates who want to join your department. So be sure to follow Becoming a Firefighter on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. We share resources, job announcements, information to help you on your journey to becoming a firefighter. Thank you so much for being here, and we're going to see you next time. All in. Woo!